Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 21st of September, comes to you from Grenoble in France. I'm on my way to the south of France. And we start by looking at the markets. We're seeing a bit of a mixed picture. The big news being that Japan fell quite heavily overnight. And that's all coming down to this Evergrande stock in China. And here's the Hong Kong listed stock. And no real surprises here. We've been bearish on this stock for well over a year. They were sitting at $27 a year ago, now sitting at $2.20. And really no surprises. We're below the cloud here. And of course, if we press the T key, we see lots of targets. We just up the box size. So here we see if we were using a 0.1%, we had 2.4 given as a target. That was given way back at 14. Here we see the downside targets given. It's just, it was there in the telling. So no big surprises from a charting perspective. But of course, this is having ramifications for stocks around the world. The fear of contagion, the sort of next Lehman Brothers in China. Heavily debt laden. Now, interestingly, the Hang Seng Japan fell, but most other markets didn't fall because they had their falls yesterday. So, if we look at first of all, just looking at the dollar index, continuing to look strong, bullish above the cloud. This is the long-term, medium-term, and short-term picture, weekly, daily, and 60-minute charts with the corresponding point and figure targets. Looking at the euro, fairly static against the dollar, but again, short-term bearish. And sterling sitting at 136.85. So no big changes there. Bitcoin has struggled a bit this week, and we are bearish below the cloud on the short term. Did find cloud support there on the daily. We can see that candle there just hitting the cloud. So, and also on the weekly looking a little bit better. But we do have this downside target back to the sort of low 30s. But the upside target's still very much in place if we hold those levels. The S&P 500 index was down heavily yesterday. The futures predicted that, and we said we would open much lower, and so we've seen that in the markets. Nasdaq falling away as well, of course. A little bit of a recovery just at the end there yesterday. Futures are up this morning, up 0.75%. So it does suggest that the markets will open higher in the US. The VIX volatility jumped yesterday. This is the fear index, if you like. It is pulling back again this morning, but it is in short-term and medium-term bullish territory, which it hasn't been for quite a while. It's been a while since we've been above the cloud on the daily. So this Evergrande event is spooking markets a little bit. Looking at the Ftse future, up this morning. The DAX in Germany up 1%. The CAC Quarante up 1.2%. Japan, as we mentioned, is the stock in Asia that's falling, but really Japan's still looking very strong indeed. Still bullish on all three time frames, so not enough to worry us there. The Hang Seng, though, does look pretty weak. It's making 12-month lows yesterday, so not looking great there. Still, and just moving into bearish territory below the cloud on the long-term chart. So the Hong Kong stock market not looking great, and China falling away. We're seeing here on the weekly chart, just struggling to break that level. So we do have good upside targets for China, but the reality is we're just struggling to break that level. And of course, this could be the thing that creates some pressure there. India looking still pretty strong. The Aussie market up. It fell heavily yesterday on the Evergrande thing, so we're seeing China lower there. We'll look at the energy mix in a minute. We're seeing soft commodities lower, wheat, corn, all lower. Gold sitting at 1759. Really struggled at that 1800 level. We need to see gold really above this 1833 mark now, and ultimately 1900 to feel confident that we're gaining back on that long-term trend. So short-term bearish at the moment. Silver, much the same picture, and we saw very big falls yesterday for platinum and palladium. Palladium especially looking very bearish on the chart now, so that is a worry. Looking at US 10-year yields, up this morning, still in the short-term bullish mode, and the fact is we have activated these upside targets, so it's still looking pretty good there. Taking a look at the energy mix now, we've got Brent Crude up this morning. Interesting to see gas markets are lower, about nearly 5% this morning. We are now just finding this resistance level at the previous high. That's where people sold last time. That's where they're looking to sell again this time. No big surprises there. We have moved into short-term bearish territory on the oil chart, so that's quite key as well. And we do have this struggling to make this high, negate this lower high, which we've talked about quite a lot. On US nat gas, we're just teetering around the $5 mark. That would have been quite a big number not so long ago, but of course we've pulled back from 550, 560, so it does look like a pullback short term, but the long-term trend is still very bullish. This is the daily rollover adjusted chart. Taking a look at coal, we're sitting at 126, finding support here. This was the one standout this week that we were bullish on. Looking at emissions, finding support at around 58.50, so looking a little bit better there, but still short-term bearish below the cloud. NBP UK gas did actually close yesterday higher than the level that we saw the close on Wednesday last week, so that is pretty bullish, although of course not on the intraday chart, the 60-minute chart. And again, we're just seeing resistance here. We've got targets in both directions and some pretty big targets to the upside, so no signs yet that we really are plummeting and gas prices holding up. TTF, much the same picture, of course. We did actually close high. Yesterday was a big day on the chart, and that held that level, which was pretty key, that we actually held the gain on the day. We're down this morning, but we held the gain yesterday. Looking at seasonal gas, that's looking pretty strong as well, pushing higher than the levels we saw last week, so still looking very strong. German power looking strong as well. We're seeing this these targets looking ever stronger here. This 123 target still to play for. That sounds impossible for a lot of people, but that's what the chart's telling us. And we are, of course, closing at levels that we saw higher than last week's close, not again on the 60-minute chart. Looking at Nordic power, no change on the Cal this morning, but on the quarterly we're up 5%. So we are seeing some strength there. And UK power has been in the news a lot lately, and the key thing is, will we go higher than this 200 level? Chances are we will. That's what the target suggests. Keep an eye on your OTC data. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you.